Hello everyone. So I'm redoing my videos because a few of them I took out of landscape mode and they did not turn out very good. So I thought I would go ahead and redo them because they're easier to see and they're better quality in landscape. So that is what I will be doing. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and act like we have nothing set up. We're doing this from scratch. We're going to do the 4-thread cover stitch. We're going to need every single color except for red. So you're going to have your yellow, your green, your blue, your purple. And then we're going to set our stitch length to 3, our differential at 1. You're going to need 3 different needles. And then we'll go ahead and get this set up. So again, I'm acting like we have not done anything. I'm going to go ahead. I have my purple right here. So just like anything else, you're going to loop it from the top here. I'm going to put it in these little loops. Make sure it goes around. Make sure it goes in to the disc. We're going to open this up down here and we're going to continue on threading our purple. Okay, so from here with the purple, we're going to make sure it loops here. That's number 1. Then there's purple right here. So make sure you get it in there. Now, before we move on, I should have done this first. Before we move on, if you see right here, this is on L. Now, in order to use our cover stitch, this needs to get turned because otherwise we're not going to be able to utilize this. So you need to make sure you go ahead and flip this like that so that the C is showing. We use this in different modes, but for this cover stitch mode, we want this to be right there, like that. Now, if you can't turn this, this is because why? Let's see, when we turn it like this and it's not aligned, and then you go like this, you're not going to be able to make that go flat. So if you're wondering why you can't turn this, it's because you need to line it up. So just keep going, turning your hand wheel. Almost. Turn it up a little bit more. Okay. So make sure that that can go back there. So remember we did 1, 2, there's purple right here. So we're going to loop it right here. Then there's a purple right here. Now, this part might seem tricky, but it's not. There's a little purple right here. I don't know, you probably can't see it. So it's behind like this little knife blade right here. There's purple right here, and it's going to be exactly like one of these. So we need to loop it there, and then we're going to continue on. So I'm going to move my hand wheel because we want to get these showing because we're going to end up looping it through here. So if you can see right here, there's a little purple right there. There you go. You can kind of see a little better right here. So act like you're doing, like you're flossing, like this. Get it back there. Sometimes it flosses really easily, sometimes it doesn't. You can always get your handy tweezers. Let's see if that will work better for me here. Maybe not. Now, I like flossing it, but it's just sometimes, like I said, you get it, sometimes you don't. All right, so I have this in right here. Now, what you're going to do here, so if you remember, there's technically 3 holes here. There's one back here, there's one right here, and there's one right here. So if I move this hand wheel out of the way, you'll see that this right here, this one, does not move anymore. When we are using it in the overlock mode, when we are serging, this would go up and down and move, and that is what we would use for our blue thread. Now, we're not using that. That's why it's just staying still. This one right here, which is pointing out this way, we would normally use for the red. We're not using that one. We're using this one right here, which is the closest to us. And there's also like a little groove back here, if you can see. Let me see if I can zoom you in here. Okay, so we have it threaded here. Again, you might want to use your tweezers, it might be easier. I can usually get it through and then I need my tweezers to pull. Like this. So now it should go like that. And then you want to have it in this little groove. So Again, you might want to take tweezers, whatever works better for you, like that. And then there's a little wheel back here. Now, if you know, this one right here that we use normally for our red, it's not even touching our thread because this isn't the one we're using. There's one all the way, if you put your finger back here, it's right here, like all the way at the end. Now make sure that your thread is caught in it. You're just going to tilt it backwards like that. And then it's done. Usually I like to get this one out of the way. I just push it out to the side. Some people I've seen, they just leave it in here. I've never tried it that way. I'm sure it should be fine. You can try it. But I like to just get it out of the way. And that is it. You can actually close this up now because we're not using anything else down here. So close that up. We do need to change this plate, which we will get to. I just want to show you the threading first. That's all we need to do for purple. So let's go ahead and get the rest of our stuff threaded. Okay, so now we're going to use blue. We do not need our red right now. All these are getting threaded pretty much the same way as far as at the top. You're putting it through the loop right here, making sure it goes like that onto the side. Make sure it goes through the tension discs. Now, remember for the blue, we are not putting it down below. This is going into a needle, so we need to keep it down here. So this blue is going to go across this way. Do not put it down below and thread it like you normally would for the fourth thread, because for the overlock, because we're not doing that. It's going to go this way. If you see right here, there's colors on it. We're using the blue, so it should go all the way over. Like that. And all you need to do is follow the rest here. So we're going to put it here. There's shows you blue right here. And then you're going to put it in here. Like that. Then there's another little spot it needs to go through. So it should be like this. Okay, I already have my 3 needles in. So the needles you should be using will be C, D, and E. So don't worry about those back 2. We're just focusing on these 3. But the blue thread is going to go all the way over and go in this needle right here. So I'm going to make sure I put this back in here again. I'm going to go ahead and get this threaded. If you have a needle holder or threader or whatever, you could definitely use that. I just use my tweezers or my hands, fingers, whatever you want to use. So that's number 1. Now we're going to do the other 2 the exact same way. We're just going to loop them all the way, put them in our needles. So this middle needle right here, which is D, that's going to be for our green. This one right here is going to be for yellow. So just make sure you have them in order. And it shouldn't be hard when you look at the sides too. Like it tells you what order to put it in. It tells you right here. You're going to have the yellow on the outside, green in the middle, blue on the end. So do the same thing. We're just going to do the top. Make sure it goes through that top little metal area, goes through the tension disc. Like that. It's going to go in the middle. And then sometimes to get it correctly in here, I will use my tweezers to make sure it's in the appropriate spot. And then go ahead and thread it into the middle needle. And then do the same for your yellow and put it through the needle. Okay, so now I have all 3 threaded. Now there's just a few more things we need to do and then we're all done. Okay, so one of the important things we need to do is we need to change out this plate. So you should have something like this. This is for the cover stitch. Super easy. We're just gonna open this. All you do is pull gently on this and it will slide it out. Just be careful, don't force it because you don't want to break it because then you're gonna end up ordering a new piece, which I'm sure is gonna be expensive. Take this piece right here, it just slides right in, like that. All right, now once you have that on, remember we got to change this too, because if you try to close this right now, like that, it's not going to go. More than likely you're going to have that on in, and you'll know because it's not lining up. So make sure there's an N and an R. You're going to pull it forward like that, and then this will fit right into that groove, just like that. Now, the only other thing that's super important is just making sure you have your tension, everything ready to go. So I already have my stitch length on 3, and I have my differential on 1. Now, these are just suggestions. You might have to increase these, reduce it. It depends on what material you're using, how thin it is, how thick it is, and sometimes your machine. I could say I use these for everything, and then maybe someone else has this machine and has to use, I don't know, a 7 here or a 4 here or whatever, because that's what works for them, you know? Like, everyone has different material, different settings they need. So this is just a guideline of what they suggest, and then you go from there. So I would always try these first and then play with it as needed. But that is one reason why we use different color threads when we're practicing, because then you can kind of see like what you need to fix, what you don't need to fix. It's just easier than having it like my previous video where I did all white. It does make it harder to, I guess, just fix what the problem is because you don't know which thread is which. So go ahead and set your yellow at 3. Your your green should be at 6.0. So I'm going to change mine to 6. And then 6.5 for blue. And then for purple, we're going to set it at 4. And that's it. Now we just need to test the machine. Just turn it on. And let's do a test. It's definitely upsetting for me sometimes when I do, take the time, I have everything threaded, and then you go to put your fabric in it, and either the needles aren't going, like it just doesn't work, it's not threading or stitching correctly, or sometimes I've had it where my fabric gets stuck in the machine, and I'm like, I just threaded it. And it's frustrating. It really is very frustrating. But, it's a machine, unfortunately. Things happen. So when that happens and I have to yank my thread out and fix it, it sucks. But all you got to do is just either take a break if you're frustrated, or just unfortunately take out all the threads and redo it, But I always test on a piece of scrap fabric. You should always have a bucket of scraps. I always do. No matter what you're sewing, you should have a bucket of scraps left over. There's no way you use every little piece of your fabric. And if you do, that's great. But very rarely are you not going to have scrap fabric. So I keep it because that's a good way to play with tension. It's a good way to check different materials. But I would never just put my machine in cover stitch mode or any mode and just start sewing, because I want to make sure it's actually going to work. So let's see. Hopefully we can get this to work and not, get stuck. But let's go. Let's test it. Let's test it. All right. Let's get those threads out of the way. Oh, there we go. Pretty cool, right? All right, so you can actually use your cover stitch as a decorative stitch as well. So you can use thread like this in place of your purple. And then if you're using your fabric, you could fold it over, as if you're doing your hem. And you would fold it over, so this would be the wrong side, this would be the right side. You'd want to keep the wrong side up. Put it under the presser foot. Go ahead and sew. Again, you would have, obviously you would line it up better and stuff, but just for an example, you would have the 3 cover stitch right here, the 3 lines on this side, and then when you'd flip it over, you'd have this decorative color stitch. So if you're doing like a dress, or say you're doing all black and you want to have this purple, or you want to have this colorful thread right here, that would be on the right side of your fabric. So that would look really pretty if you're doing something like that around your armbands or something on your shorts. It would be very cute. In my opinion, it'd be cute. But numerous things you can do with this, so just play with it. There's plenty of things you can do. I hope you enjoy this video. I apologize about the previous ones being out of landscape mode, but that's why I'm trying to redo these. So that should help you on your journey. So in my videos so far, the ones that have been correct and updated, we already did the 4 thread overlock with integrated safety seam. We did the 3-thread cover stitch wide and the 3-thread cover stitch narrow in my previous video, and then now I just went over the 4-thread cover stitch. So that should help you. You at least now can do put it in overlock mode and use it as a serger. You can do the cover stitch. Plenty of other things on here. In my other video, I believe I did flat lock, and I think I did a few other things. But I can certainly continue on with this list. I can do the rolled hem, the flat lock, and we can go ahead and work on some of these. The 3-thread super stretch is one I have to redo in the video. Do that one over. But yeah, we can go ahead and go through this list and work on it. But I hope this helps you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.